I began attending Midway Church in 1945. Now, the way that happened is that we lived on Treese Street. That's hard to say. And my mother, my sister Carolyn, and I went to Second Presbyterian Church, which was and still is on what is now Loop Road. Or is it? No, it's now Earnhardt Road. And we walked from Treese Street over to that church, which is maybe 3/4 of a mile. And my sister Margaret was born in March of 1945. And taking a baby to church and walking was more than my mother could handle. So there was a bus line through Kannapolis at the time, and the bus was a block from our house where the bus stop was. We could get on the bus and it went down the street and around and stopped at the corner of Bethpage Road and Main Street, and we got off the bus and went to church. This was in, I would guess, April or May of 1945. My sister Margaret was baptized at the church that summer. And in April 1948, when I was 10 years old, my sister, who was then 8, and I were baptized and became members of the church. Put them in early then. And I remember that in August of that year, the church paid off the note on the parsonage, which is where the church offices are now. That was the church parsonage. So it was paid off, and they had a meeting there at the church to celebrate that the mortgage was paid. 2 years later, they started building the fellowship hall. Had some more money, no mortgage.
Years. And my name is Mildred Davidson, but everyone calls me Mickey at Midway. So if you're not used to call me Midway, you're more than welcome to start now. I started going to Midway Church as soon as the confirmation was over, which is about 12 years old. And I've been going ever since. And like I tell everybody, I was born and raised in Midway Church. And so that's about, I'm 89 now, just turned 89 the 12th of this year. And that would make me about 77 years a member of Midway, the way I counted it up. And I was a teacher in the elementary department. And we were upstairs where the elevator, goes upstairs. And the rooms was 1, 2, 3. And back then, we didn't have just one class in elementary. We had a first and second class, a third and fourth, and a fifth and sixth. Judy Wilkerson, which was Miss Morgan's daughter, she taught first and second. I taught third and fourth. And Dot and Lou Boss taught fifth and sixth. And so one Sunday, our class decided we was going to do the Good Samaritan. And we did. And I was the Good Samaritan's wife in it. I'll never will forget it. And my little friend that I thought, which was my little boyfriend, we had a real good turnout with that. And I'll never forget that little program. And that was before our church was completed. We all had to be in the auditorium in the basement. And so That's where we had our program at. And preacher Taylor, I can see him now. He's the one that shoveled the first shovel of dirt that started our other part of our church, the auditorium and all. He was a little short guy, bow-legged man, but honey, he could preach. I can still hear him there. But he started the auditorium of that, but at that time we had to meet down in the basement for everything. But that was all right.